What's going on? Welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and today we have one of the coolest stories when it comes to the whiskey world today. I have the Reveries Raven. This is batch 1 and batch 2. We're going to do a 2-for-1 today, put these both on the list for 2025 and find out which one of these is better and where they fall on the list. Let's get into it. So here's the thing. I thought about doing this blind, and then I was like, for what? I mean, it's not like I should like batch 1 better than 2 or any reason that these two should be going up against each other blind. I think they're going to be very similar. Maybe they're not, though. We're going to go over everything that they tell us, because the one thing about this company is they tell us just about everything we need to know. But before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. This is just my kind of whiskey. So listen, I am going to do an entire production video. I'm going to try to make it one of my better videos on the Reveries because, again, I think this is one of the coolest stories in the whiskey world right now. This isn't like just your typical, I'm going to make my own whiskey story. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. And I think the reason these are so good is because it's not that typical story. So again, make sure you stick around, click that follow, click that subscribe button for that video coming soon. This tells us on both of these, again, I love transparency. It's just my favorite thing. This tells us what it is. I mean, we have a 9-year Indiana, a 9-year Indiana, a 10-year Kentucky, and a 14-year Kentucky. We have a mash bill of 75-21-4, 75-21-4. I'm assuming both of those are obviously MGP. We have the Kentucky of 78-10-12, which is 48% of this. So almost half this bottle for batch 1 is going to be a 10-year Kentucky at 75-10-12, and then a 14-year Kentucky makes up 11% of this, and that is 75-13-12. So we can try and guess off those mash bills what the Kentucky ones are, but that's going up against something that's very similar over here. 14, 27, 48, 11, 14, 27, 48, 11, 9, 9, 10, 14, same mash bills, I believe. When I say identical, I mean identical. So we have the exact same properties for both of these. Obviously, different barrels are being involved in these. That's how the blending process goes. But again, I think they're going to be very similar, and I think they're going to be very good. And I don't know if he's going for consistency in these things or just trying to put out the best batch to the best batch. So let's go again here with batch number 1. I mean, guys, when it comes to drinkability, this is what? 128.8 proof. I actually knew that, but I thought I was going to look at that bottle and be like 116, 117, 67. Relax. I was just shocked by how good the drinkability. These are the reason that I do. These bottles are the reasons that I do drinkability still. This one, by the way, 125. A lot of people are like, who cares about drinkability if it drinks hot but it tastes good? But that's not what I want. I want something that, even if it drinks at its proof, we give it a 7.0 if it drinks right at its proof. But I'm also more curious about something that drinks under its proof. Maybe somebody's not ready for 128.8 proof, but then they hear my video and they're like, I've been drinking 120s. Maybe I can make the leap. This is one where I'm telling you can make the leap. The drinkability on this is fantastic. It's got a spiciness when it comes to the taste, but that doesn't translate to the ethanol. We're mid-8s on this easy. 8.57 when it comes to drinkability on number 1. Again, I was truly going to say it was like 120, but 128.8 is crazy. And because I like to keep drinkability on the front end of things, that's why I do it first. I don't want to sip it 6, 7, 8 times and then tell you how easy it is to sip, because after 3 whiskeys, they all sip pretty easy. So let's get into batch 2 over here. Again, 125 proof. I hate that I know that now. I went into this one kind of quote unquote blind, even though I didn't know it was 128.8, but now I know this is 125. So let's see how this one sips. I mean, almost identical. I'll be honest with you. 128.8, 125, and they sip just about the same. Which, I mean, I'm good, but I can't tell you 3 proof points different good. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there's the competitions and people hone in on the proof. And I mean, they're guessing at the end of the day, right? They're guessing. It's an educated guess, but it's a guess nonetheless. I'd probably blind this, just like I said with this one, 120-ish. So if this was an 8.57, this is slightly below that. Again, just because I feel like they do drink exactly the same, and this is just a couple proof points difference. We're not going to knock it too much. I'm going to keep it short and sweet here. I'll give you a score right now. We got to go like 8.43 when it comes to this. Again, I don't think it's crazy different, but we got to knock it just a couple because of the proof points. And up next, this is where, like, I get a lot of comments on my videos. I make funny videos. I make ironic videos. I make videos that maybe they're not for you. I say stuff like, Knob Creek doesn't need to make an 18-year because they have the 12-year. Somebody commented on that the other day and was like, you're wrong. Your taste buds don't know what they're... it was a joke. Like, it was kind of a joke. I do think that the 12 year is the best one. It is subjective. I understand that this is subjective. The problem is that me and Jay seem to have the same subject in this subjective test. We're taking an open notes test and we're staring at each other's notes, because I've been on a couple of picks with this guy now, and we're locked in on what we both enjoy about whiskey. And this is just two prime examples. This is why I tell people all the time, people are like, why would I join a Patreon, or why would I buy people's barrel picks? Or if you can find somebody that has a similar or the same palate as you, and I'm not saying that me and Jay do, I think that Jay has a palate that's 10 times better than anything that I bring to the table, but I will say that what he truly enjoys and what he likes to blend in these particular blends is what I absolutely love about whiskey. And we're gonna talk about it right here, especially with, I don't know actually. I think both of them do it well, but I do think batch one might be a little bit better for me. So the first thing that stands out for me at the very beginning is there's like the caramel is there, but it's almost like a, I don't want to say burnt, I want to say like a toasted caramel, right? And same thing on the back end, there's this sweetness, this molasses, which I feel like is, it's different than just like a sugary note, right? It's like a burnt molasses, it's like a toasted molasses. And those notes for me, I also, and this might just be in my head because 75, 13, 12, Kentucky, it might just be in my head, 14-year wild turkey, I feel like there's a toffee note. You bring all those things together for me, and you're basically making the perfect whiskey right here. For me, you get the sweetness in the front, you get that spiciness in the middle, there's that cinnamon. Guys, I gotta close my eyes for this one. There's that cinnamon, there's almost like a big red influence on this, ever so slightly, ever so quickly. Then you move into more of those baking spices. Again, it's just, I talk about the roller coaster. I don't want to jump ahead of myself here. This is, it's one of the better whiskeys that I've tasted. I love Jay. Jay, I would consider Jay a good friend at this point, right? I'm not saying this just because it's Jay. I think this is a really good bottle of whiskey. I'm literally putting it up there with like the Wild Turkey Master Keeps that I love, the Russell's Reserve 15s that I love. As far as a blend, I'm putting it up there with the Disco series that come out that are really good. I'm putting it up there with the barrel blends that are so good. It's a really good glass of whiskey. We're going to talk about price in a minute. I'm not going to hone on this too much longer. I've told you my tasting notes. I told you what I thought. This is a 9 for me. And I very rarely give a 9, but this is a 9 for me. It's just my whiskey. It's what I'm looking for in whiskey. Just the cherry note on this, it's like Stag-esque when it comes to that cherry note. Like that spiciness, that spicy cherry, that burnt caramel, oh, that's absolutely fantastic. I don't want to get crazy here. 9.23 though, it's pretty crazy. A 9.23 when it comes to the taste on this one. Let's talk about this one. I almost want to clear my palate. This is one of the ones where I'm not trying to dissect these to see which one's better. I'm just trying to taste this one on its own. So a 9.23 here. Let's get some water to clear my palate for this one. All right, batch 2, can it be as good as batch 1? Let's try it out. Traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. This one comes off spicier, more of those clove, those cinnamon notes, those less of that sweetness, less of that molasses, less of that toffee, less of that wild turkey influence. And again, this is 14-year, 11%. So same type of blend, obviously different barrels going into this. And I feel like this one's just spicier. So if you like the sweeter side of things, you're gonna be right here. This is gonna be your baby. This is gonna be the one that you're hunting for. I'm gonna get a couple of these if they're still out. I know they're not out there, but I can find some hopefully. This one's gonna be your spice. This is gonna be everything that you love about like that spicy. This gives me more of the MGP spice vibe than it does, like, I mean, even the MGP is it's the 21%, but I feel like it gives me more of that spiciness. Like, it doesn't remind me of a 95.5 rye by no means would I say that, but it gives me more of those 95.5 rye vibes than this glass over here. Two phenomenal glasses of whiskey. I don't think they're the opposite ends of the spectrum, but I do think that they're different sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? I also feel like I lose a little bit of that cherry. Again, not a bad whiskey. I'm trying not to tell you that like this one has, I'm just trying to tell you what this one has that this one doesn't. For me personally, I like the cherry on this. I like the molasses on this. I like the burnt caramel on this. For this one, I like the spiciness on this. I like the clove, the nutmeg, that vibe going on here. I feel like I'm still getting those vanilla. The vanilla actually stands out on this more than this glass over here. So like the sweetness side of things, this is more of the vanilla sweetness to me, where this was more of that molasses and caramel side of sweetness to me. I got like a little bit of a sugary with that molasses, like even like like a confection sugar type of note over here, more like a baking sugar, where this one you're just getting straight up vanillas when it comes to the sweetness. Not a bad whiskey. It's still going to be middle to high 8s for me. So I don't want to underplay how good this whiskey is. It's just tough going up against this bottle right here. This is an absolute banger for me. So listen, if you follow my palate at all, this is the spicy that I love, this is the sweet that I love, but I fell in love with sweet for a reason. I fell in love with bourbon for a reason. It was always the sweeter side of things. I gave up soda, I gave up iced tea, but I can't give up my bourbon whiskey because it's just that, I mean, this is obviously still bourbon whiskey too, but this reminds me more of that spicier side of bourbon, where this is like that quintessential sweet bourbon that I truly love. Still going to be a great score over here. I'm going to go, I said like medium to high 8s. I think I'm going to go like medium to low 8s. I'm going to go like 8.35 when it comes to the taste on this one. Still a phenomenal glass of whiskey. Cannot say that enough. Still a phenomenal glass of whiskey, but 8.35 is where we're going to put it when it comes to taste. And last but certainly not least, we're just going to talk about these at the exact same time. I'm not going to give them the exact same score because this was a little bit lower on both drinkability and taste compared to this one. I love this bottle, so I'm going to like it more for the price. But here's what I want to say. $139.99, $140 for, I believe, both of these. I don't think this one went up after this one released. $140 for both of these. And I'm thinking, Chris, is that too much? Is that too much for what I'm getting here? And then I thought about it. What do we have? What do we have comparables-wise? So Barrel just dropped a couple of bottles at $150 and $200 that were special releases. We have like the Bardstown Disco series, which, by the way, I'm about to do a whole bunch of videos on Bardstown versus Barrel, and we're talking about blending here. So let's talk about the two kings of blending, Bardstown and Barrel Company. I mean, this is the 5-year, but I just grabbed what I have over here. But Bardstown Disco series, this is number 13. This is 9-year, 9-year, 15-year, 8-year. So 9-year, 9-year, 15, 8 versus 9-year, 9-year, 14, 10. So very similar. And these go for $140 as well. Now here's my issue. If Bardstown is doing it at $140 and Take can do it at $140, I don't know if you know this, but Bardstown Bourbon Company, and no disrespect to Take here, I'm just going to guess, has a little bit more invested in their entire process than J West does. That's just an assumption. Just a little bit of an assumption that I'm making as an educated guess. I think that Bardstown Bourbon Company has more money than J West does. Which means if Jay is capable of putting out one of my favorite whiskeys of the year at $140, and Bardstown Bourbon Company is putting out damn near identical stuff. Now, we'll compare these at another time. I'm not saying it's identical taste and everything, but statistics-wise, identical stuff. Also at $140, this is where I start to question. What's the value? I don't know what it costs these big companies. I don't know their overhead. I don't know what they're paying employees. I don't know that. I'm sure it's expensive. Don't get me wrong. But again, Jay can do it for $140 a bottle. You can't do it for cheaper than that? That's where I'm at. $140 seems like a fair spot for me on both of these bottles. 7.0 if it's an average whiskey at an average price, which is 75 to 90. It's above, but it's above average, especially this bottle over here on both of those other two things. I'm going to go 8.13 on the bottle that I love, batch 1. I'm going to go 7.92. 8.13, 7.92 when it comes to the price. I'm at the point right now where I don't love anything over $100, $125. So I'm coming down a little bit, but what did I say? 8.13, 7.92 when it comes to the price of these. I mean, to nobody's surprise, this comes in at an 8.64, which is top of the list right now, and I hope we can get more of the whiskey that we have at the top of the list, so at the end of the year we can find out which one is the best strictly based on taste, because that's going off of drinkability and price as well. This bottle, nothing to shy away at, still top 5 at an 8.23. Both phenomenal glasses of whiskey. I mean, the story, the whiskey, everything about these bottles is exactly what I love about whiskey, and it's the reason I think I like these bottles. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased here, but I don't think so. If you have an opportunity to buy any of these bottles, make sure you do. Again, check out my long form video on the entire Reveries series, because this is going to be an absolute phenomenal story going forward. But listen, if you've made it this far in the video, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you check us out on Instagram. Go click that follow button over there. Check out our Patreon page and our Discord. Both those links in the description below. And if you haven't already checked out the Reveries, the Raven, or anything else coming out from J West over at Take, make sure you do. Cheers, y'all.